Hello, I'm Jeff Petersen. Today the question we're going to address is what exercises can I do if I have sacroiliac joint pain? Some of these are also very helpful for low back pain, for hip pain. As I mentioned in an earlier video, in order to help stabilize as best you can your sacroiliac joint, it's important to have good pelvic, low back, and hip stability and flexibility. Now, one of the more common issues with a sacroiliac joint, and I'm going to grab a model over here off camera, sorry about that one, is when the sacroiliac joint shifts. So this is the left sacroiliac joint, here's the pubis. So we're like this. So sometimes what can happen is you fall on your buttocks, or the typical dysfunctional position is with this ilium dropping down. So we want to try to bring it forward. So one of the things we have people do is scoot over to the edge of the table again. Just relax this hip right here. Bring this knee up to your chest and hold. If your knee hurts, you hold underneath. If you can hold on top, you hold on top. So she's holding her knee to her chest to flatten her low back, and she's allowing this hip to come forward, to stretch these hip flexor muscles a little bit with the adductors, and also putting a little bit of gentle stress, bringing that ilium forward a little bit. This is a great position if you have chronic SI joint instability or hypermobility. This should be a really comfortable position for you. If not, sometimes the SI or the ilium will shift forward. If that happens, this may actually cause more pain. So any of these exercises that you do should not cause more pain except in the muscles that you're working. So this is a hip flexor stretch. It's a great activity. Okay, now scoot to me just a little bit. Now, we're going to progress and try to influence that sacroiliac joint by creating a moment of force. So you're going to hold that one right there. You're going to hold this one right here. Keep these feet up. What we're going to do is take a stick, and we're going to put the stick in the bottom of this one here and in the top of this one here. Okay, and you're going to hold that with your hands. What I want you to do is I want you to push with this one that way, with this one this way, as if you're trying to break the stick right in the middle. See how that bends right there? Perfect. You're going to hold it. 2, 4, 5, 6. So the previous stretch she's going to do for about 2 minutes. This one she's going to do a count of 5. She's going to do a set of 10, and that's it. What she's doing is she's creating a force that is a force couple that's creating a little bit of torsion in the SI joint. Can you feel that right in there? Okay. Does it hurt at all? No. Okay, good. All right. So the next one we're going to do is very similar in that I want you to spread your feet just a little bit, and you're going to hold that right there. Bring them in right there. And what she's going to do is you're going to do a pelvic tilt. So a pelvic tilt is she's flattening her back into the table, and then she's squeezing her knees to create a moment with those muscles bilaterally. So it's not just one opening, they're both opening at the same time. She's going to hold that for a count of 5. She's going to do 10 repetitions. So that's adduction. She's working the muscles in the inner part of the thigh. The next one she's going to do is she's going to tie some TheraBand around her knees, and now what you're going to do is you're just going to open a little bit more. So come out right to there, and when you come out, pause. Pause. 1, 2, 3, and relax. Can you feel that right in your hips? Keep going. 1, 2, 3. She's going to do about 10 to 15 of those. So now she's working on some abduction. Okay. The next one, to work the pelvis and the hips, you're going to do a pelvic tilt. And on this one here, we're going to do a little different. I want our feet to be a little bit closer. You're going to do a pelvic tilt into the table, and you're going to drive your pubic bone straight up to the ceiling. So lift up like you're getting on a bedpan and come right up to the ceiling as high as you can. Does that hurt when you do that? No. Okay, you should feel it in your buttocks, maybe your hamstrings, but mostly in your buttocks, none in your low back, and she's got a good pelvic tilt. And then come down. And then again. So she's going to do about 15 of those until she feels it really burning in her buttocks. Okay, and then relax. All right, so, you ready to go on? Now we're going to do what we call the dead bugs. She's here. I'm going to bring this one here. You're going to bring this one here. You're going to keep the knees apart just a little bit. You're going to keep the feet here like a table. So this is kind of the beginning of the dead bug. If this is all you can do, you hold it for 5 seconds, 10 seconds. If you can do it for a minute, that's awesome. If this is really easy, as you get more fit, what you can do is bring this toe up and then drive that heel out just a little bit more right there. And then this one comes up. You feel, you'll keep those arms right there. So she brings her heel out and her arm up, and then she comes in. Then she does the other side. Heel out, thumb, arm up, and comes in. As she starts to move her extremities, you feel the stress in there? Yeah. So that's going to help work on some stability of her abdominal muscles and some of the core muscles in her low back. So let's have you on your tummy for this one. You know the plank?
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's have you do a plank. So you might want to slide up a little bit so when we do a plank, so do the plank on your knees right there. So you can start with a plank on your knees, but make sure you keep a good pelvic tilt, tummy tight, no pain in your back. And then to progress, now let's get on your toes. And now she's on her toes, good pelvic tilt here. When you start to not feel it in your abdominal muscles, in your shoulders and in your hips, if you feel it in your low back, that's when you want to stop. This is a good overall stability exercise. You hold this one for time. If you can only hold it 10 seconds, then do 10 seconds. If you can do a minute, then by all means do a minute. There are ways to make this one more challenging, but let's just start with this with the goal of getting to be able to do a plank for 1 minute. Okay, good. Now you can lie down. That was a challenging one, wasn't it? That's a good one. Okay, we're going to put some pillows under her hips. You're going to stay prone. So you put a pillow under your hips. You're going to relax your shoulders. We don't want too much extension here. Now this is a challenging one. If you have a slippage where your SI joint has shifted down, you want to be really careful with this one. If you have any low back issues, you want to be careful. I want you to do the pelvic tilt like you did earlier. Nope, the other way. Right there. So she's engaged her abdominal muscles. Now I want you to squeeze your glute muscle right here. Squeeze that one right there, and I want you to raise your knee off the table about the width of 2 pieces of paper. Look right there, not quite so high, right there. So she's just coming up just enough to engage those glutes and come down. And relax, okay? Now tighten your abdominals again, engage your glute, and come up. And down, and she's gonna try to get 3 sets of 10 of those or until it burns right in through here, okay? So that's the prone hip extension. Let's do some standing exercises. Let's have you take your shoes off, and I'll work with you. I'll demonstrate this one for you. So one of the things that's really important, and we have some videos on balance, is the ability to stand on one leg. There's a correlation between your balance, your leg strength, and how long you live. So people who can't stand on one leg for at least 10 seconds are at greater risk of falling. When you're at greater risk of falling, you don't walk as much. Now, right now, I'm trying this. On a level surface, I can do it fairly easily. My right ankle, not so much. I've had a couple injuries there. But 2 years ago, I couldn't do this for 10 seconds, so I've been working on it. So I'm mid-60s, and my balance has not gotten great. So if you have a yoga mat, one thing you can do, what I want you to do, Laura, is I want you to put a foot here and a foot here. So you see how her pelvis is going to be in an oblique position. So let me see you try that. Okay, any pain with that? No. So I want you to bring this foot out a little bit more. A little bit more. Look up nice and tall. Okay, pelvic tilt. Nope, the other way. The other way, right there. And see how her knee bent with that one? Can you straighten that knee? And keep that pelvis tilted. Okay, now load that knee, left knee. So bend your knee and come down just like that. And not over the toe, and come up. And again, right there, and come up. And again, see how you're coming out this way? Mm-hmm. I want you there and right to there. Okay, now you're arching your back. Can you feel that? Mm-hmm. So now tighten here. So if you can engage your core, engage your quads, engage your hip, no pain. Okay? Good. Let me see you just stand on one leg.
Either leg?
Either one. So you see how she's engaging her. So this is actually a good exercise for your balance and your hips. Again, don't arch your back. What will happen naturally for people is when they feel unstable, they want to pack the joints because that's a stable position. So to engage the exercise, you want to make sure we make it unstable from the ankle and nice and stable in here through the core. Okay, good. Now stand facing the windows that way. Spread your feet shoulder width apart. Nice, good loose knees. So loose knees to go up, but don't. So drop your pelvis straight down to the floor with a little squat right there. That's a stable position. So the position is not here, the position is here. Nice and stable. She's going to hold this band with both hands in front, arms out just a little bit, and then you're going to take a side step to the left. 1, and 1 more. 2, just like that. So that's some challenge. Now I want you just to turn your shoulders to the left about 2 inches, right there, and then back. And again. So that's a stability exercise. Now I want you to keep your hands in the middle and push them straight out in front of you. And then back. That's a stability exercise. These you can do for time. Make sure, now you're weight bearing, so it's a more challenging exercise. It may cause pain. If it doesn't, you stick with the ones on the bed or the table. And you can make sure you do both sides. So this is a standing stability exercise. Single leg standing or double leg standing in the warrior pose where you're loading the quads and engaging the core. And then where you're doing just the subtle rotations. Okay, back on the table. Now we're going to do one more flexibility exercise that can be challenging. Let's have you lie on your back, please. Let's have you lie on your side, too. So, with sacroiliac joint patients, the sacrum is here, the ilium is here. This is the greater trochanter of the hip. There is a muscle that comes from the greater trochanter of the hip. It walks its way all the way to the sacrum right here. That's called the piriformis. That muscle can be super, super, super tender. If that muscle is involved, it can mimic symptoms of sciatica. It can create bursitis issues in the hip. If nothing else, it's responding to the pain you're having. So getting that piriformis relaxed is important. So let's have you on your back again. And the way we're going to get that one relaxed is she's going to bend this knee here. She's going to bend this knee here. There's a couple ways to stretch it. One way to stretch it is to stretch it here. Then the other way to stretch it is she reaches between here and she pulls up as high as she can. And she's feeling a stretch right through there. You feel that? Mm-hmm. If you're doing this exercise and you have a sacroiliac, a slippage on this side and this hurts, pinpoint right in the back, then you do not want to do this method. You want to do this method here to stretch your piriformis. Okay? Mm-hmm. Awesome. So the key is, can you do these exercises every day? I wouldn't do every one of them every day, but I would pick 3 of them. So you do the hip flexor stretch, the bridging, and maybe the piriformis stretch, or you do the hip extension and the break the stick and the dead bugs. The key with exercise is to do more today than you did yesterday, and to do a little bit each day. It doesn't have to be an hour-long routine when you're talking about trying to deal with your sacroiliac joint. So just get engaged. If you have questions, ask your physical therapist. Give us a call, send us an email. If this has been helpful, by all means, like, subscribe, and smash that button that says, hey, we love you.